Hey there, this is Matt once again coming at you with another review of another sketch, sort of a sketch comedy movie, done in the vein of the Kentucky Fried movie, Amazon Women on the Moon. And this one I actually did not mind, and it's called The Onion Movie. Now, it's based on the fake newspaper, The Onion, which they bring you news and then they tweet things here and there. You know, it's parody of satire. So they decided to make a movie if I learn how to talk right. And maybe this is coming off of watching movie 43 and inappropriate comedy and those pieces of shits. But this one I did not mind. I think it's a good triple feature with the Kentucky Fried movie and Amazon Women on the Moon. It's hard to review these because there's so many different, I want to say skits, but I don't know if that's the right way to describe them. So I guess I'll talk about the fact that, number one, it's fairly short. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome too much. The setup is, it takes place throughout one day of these newscasters doing the news, and these are the different stories they have on the news. For example, about neck seatbelts, how there's a recall of them, and like a guy parts softly, and then his head fucking flies off through the windshield. And again, each one, it's done like a news program, like you're watching TV, and each of these news topics come up. The big one that people will remember is the trailer for a Steven Seagal film, and yes, Steven Seagal's in this, Cock Puncher. You know, this young man was beaten up and trained to be Cock Puncher. And sad to say, this is like the best thing Seagal has done in a long fucking time. I almost want to see a real movie of Cock Puncher. Or like if Seagal took the piss out of himself in that fashion. I'm surprised he fucking did it. This little cameo. And throughout the film, that trailer, that movie's advertised, like coming out soon, Cock Puncher. And again, there's some fun pieces of satire in this. Like you have a robbery in a bank, and the guy has a mask on, but he's like, I don't want your money. I'm looking for a motherfucking job, bitch. And they're confused, like, what? I don't want to steal your money. I'm robbing you, but I'm not robbing you. Just quit stalling. I want to get your bitch ass back there and give me a 40-hour job, you piece of shit motherfucker. And so it's someone holding up a bank in order to get a job. The job builds character. And I had not. I think I saw this film once a long, long time ago. Probably when it came out, and I flipped through it when I worked at the video store. Had not seen it since, so I didn't see that coming. But I thought that was pretty humorous and out of the norm. And then there's another guy who is trying to rob the bank, and he shoots the guy. He's like, "You sicken me, asking for a handout." I thought that was a bit smarter writing than some people give credit to this movie, because I know critics absolutely annihilated on this film, took a shit on it. But you compare it to the writing in movie 43 and inappropriate comedy and other shit of that nature. The writing in this, I gotta give credit to Todd Hanson and Robert Siegel. There's another one where it's a takeoff of Britney Spears. Because I think what happened, this film was done. It was stuff like this film was done and it got delayed for some reason. I guess because they didn't believe in the movie. They thought the movie was that bad. Which I'm thinking, this movie wasn't nearly as bad to be detained for years. It was filmed in 2003 and released 2008 direct-to-video. 5 years, really? In 5 years? This film's not nearly that fucking bad. Not even close. In 2003, New Regency Productions and Fox Searchlight Pictures were on board to produce and release a movie written by the Onion staff. It was the Untitled Onion movie. It was to be directed by music video director Tom Kuntz and Mike McGuire. After delays and previews to test audiences, the film was shelved and eventually dropped by Fox. New Regency Productions continued on with the project. And it says here, directed by James Kleiner. So I don't know, maybe someone took it away and made it better? I don't know. It just only says James Kleiner did it. Unless that's a made-up name. Maybe it is, because I clicked on it, it goes to Tom Kuntz. And that is his real name, Kuntz. So yeah, maybe that is a fake name he used. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't happy with the film. Okay, they were briefly involved, shot initial footage for the project, but the two walked away from the project citing creative differences with the producers. Though numerous websites still cite them as directors, they are officially not the directors of record. So, there you go. This movie's not nearly as bad to have all that controversy with it. It makes it seem like it's such an awful film. But I like the Britney Spears take where they're asking about each of her songs and oh, but Melissa Cherry, she's too sexy for children. It's like, well, you have a song called Take Me From Behind. Oh, that's not about sex. What? Yeah, it's about, love catching up on you. But then they showed the music video where a guy in a blue bear suit is ready to take her from behind. Like, this is lowbrow, but this is lowbrow I can deal with. Like, her BSing her way through these videos saying they're not sexual when you can clearly tell they are. And, for parodies of Britney Spears, it's definitely a lot smarter than the one in Meet the Spartans, which is just a Britney Spears type shaving and being kicked down the fucking pit. Like, Meet the Spartans is how you do it piss poorly. There's one on terrorism, which that's a touchy subject to do parody on. But I thought they did it fairly well because it's a suicide bomber training video. So it's like fake towns, fake props, fake people. This is what you should do. This is what you should. I thought it was better written than I thought it would be with that kind of subject matter. This is a white guy pretending to be black. You know those guys. The people from Malibu's Most Wanted, but they take it seriously. It says, hey, y'all, what's going on? Like, he's pretending to be black. And I thought this was, especially with how it is nowadays, kind of a fun take on racism. I know that sounds stupid. But these cops come and go, we got a description. And they arrest him. And they're like, we're looking for a black man, and this take you in. He's like, wait a minute, I'm not black. Sure you are. No, they say, sure you're not. Yeah, right. I'm doing a piss poor job of explaining it, but it's one of those things where they treat him. This is a guy who pretends to be black, so then cops and people treat him as if he was black, and not in the nicest ways. And again, it's a touchy, thin line to go in, but I thought again it was a nice sort of satire on racism and also people who pretend to be black. It's like if you want to. It's one of those films. That's why it's hard to describe satire. I do think this is. I agree with this guy. IGN DVD. Uh, Good combination of sketch and satire. And then right after that, you have people reviewing the film, and one person saying, "Oh, this is a piece of shit." The other person going, "This is a good film." And then a third person, "Who cares about these film expert assholes? Just play the movie." So these people reviewing the film in the middle of the film, and then another one where, well, actually, later on, I'll talk about that now because it's one of my favorite bits. Later on, they have these two guys, a black guy, Tom Wright, who was in March for Death, he was in Men of War, And then Getty Watanabe from 16 Candles. And they complain about the depiction of black and Asian so far in this film. And Tom Wright goes, if we do not have a solid, uh, upstanding take on a black person, every black person will leave this theater in 5 minutes while they're watching the film. And I said, okay. And then they talk to Getty Watanabe, what are your takes on it? And Getty Watanabe says, me no righty. I didn't expect that. And they're like, what? It's like, me no righty. So it's a take on the PC, trying to hone in and control things, but yet taking the piss out of it. Like it's one of those. It's hard to convey via words, but it's a lot funnier seeing it than me describing it. At least to me. Maybe I'm alone in it and liking the film, but I think it's not that bad of a flick. If you like the Kentucky Fried Movie and Amazon Women on the Moon, it's a nice follow-up to those two. At least one of the better ones that I've seen since those. Other bits I like, a news program that talks about how smoking is gone, except you just smoked in one single room in Iowa. So everyone's going to it. Like, smoking has been banned except one small room in Iowa. But everyone's trying to get into this one small room. This murder mystery game, but it's not a murder mystery game. It's a rapey mystery game. Which, again, a joke about rape could be a very thin line. But I gotta say they do it tastefully. And I know you're wondering how. Because they invite a person, they don't tell what it is, they tell what the game is, she wants to leave, like, oh no, it's fine, you just lay down. And they don't do anything to her, like they don't touch her, they don't rough her up, they just have her lay down with like an outfit on. And then like a murder mystery game, they say their lines of dialogue and their characters. It's just what they're saying makes the girl so comfortable she leaves. But again, it doesn't cross the line to uncomfortable because they don't force her to stay. They don't manhandle her. It's just the way they're explaining how earnest they're saying. But it's a game. Come on, like they're not. How do I put it? Like, okay, there's a guy who says a line. What was the line? Oh, you can't move. The rapist shattered your pelvis with a baseball bat. And they say it so earnestly that I thought it was kind of funny. Like this insanity. It's making the insanity normal, and that kind of makes it a little bit funnier. I don't know how to describe it. And there's some good lines of dialogue. Like they talk about depression. Like, depression hits losers the hardest. Another one I liked is that there's this new computer, the Base 4000, and this worker's trying to get this customer to buy it. He ultimately buys it. Then by the time he gets home, there's a new one out, the Base 5000. Throw away your old 4000, it's a piece of shit. So he gets it, and then he's driving home, and then he hears there's a new 6000. And then as he's buying that, before he even puts the money in, there's a new one. There's like the 7,000 or the 9,000 or. And I find that funny because it does seem like anytime you buy something, there's another new fucking thing. There's another new system. There's another new computer program. Like another new fucking download that you have to install for your fucking programs. It's like, I just got this one, or I just downloaded it, and I thought it was done pretty funny, and ultimately the guy gets so pissed he decides to kill that guy. There's one program where a guy is suing because he wanted to be sexually harassed and he wasn't, so he's suing. So it's like the opposite. You sue because you're sexually harassed. No, this guy's suing because he wasn't sexually harassed and he wanted to be sexually harassed. There's one where it's one of those save the children satire of those, please give money to help these kids. And it's Michael Bolton. And it's to help this kid who's already rich among this group of poor people. With your money, he'll buy this new video game. And this, help with his new TV. And And I mean, not all of them work. There's one about this legless, handless hockey player that I feel went on for a bit too long. I would say the second half isn't as funny as the first half of the film. The ending of the film, it goes a bit away from the skits and tries to tell a narrative where the station is taken over by terrorists, and there's Steven Seagal, and he goes and crushes the guy's nuts, and the news anchorman is trying to pontificate. It's like, you didn't need a narrative. You could have just said, we're done with the story, good night. Like, you didn't need a third act that tried to link all the stories together into this narrative and this news station at the end. It's the weakest part of the film, the finale. You do have Rodney Dangerfield making a cameo, pretty much saying the same line as Caddyshack. Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid. Which I didn't realize Rodney Dangerfield was in this, but yeah, he makes a cameo. So yeah, the ending's a bit weak. There's a couple segments that don't work, because it's hard to make every single one work in one of these. I keep thinking of them as comedy anthologies, but I think it's the good outweighs the bad. I do think it's decently funny. It doesn't go too much to the shit jokes, fart jokes, piss jokes that I thought it was going to. It does try to be a little bit smarter than like Movie 43 or Inappropriate Comedy or those crap fests. Like, there's a little bit smarter writing at play here. And I actually thought I was going to rant on this. I actually thought I was going to get mad about this. But I was pleasantly surprised. Not that bad of a film, a fairly decent flick. And I think if you like Kentucky Fried Movie and Amazon Women on the Moon, this is worth a watch. If you don't like it, I don't know what to say. Teach their own. I enjoyed it. And yeah, considering it got delayed for what, 5 years? It was 2003, came out eventually 2008. Not nearly as bad as that would seem to be. I don't know, maybe with the way things are nowadays, it makes it a funnier film. I don't know. Not much for features, just deleted scenes, some outtakes, which nothing, like, not even worth a watch. I mean, I watched it, but not worth a watch again. Would have been nice to see a making of, all the ups and downs of the making of the flick. By the way, decent film. I quite enjoyed it. But thanks for watching, take care, and see you for the next video.